Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's IBA alumni session. My name is Micky. I am an IBA alumni and I am from the class of 2013. I am a tech entrepreneur today. So today's talking points are, I'll tell you my story, how I went from being an IBA student to becoming a global tech entrepreneur. I'll tell you why people choose IBA, why I chose IBA, and mostly what do IBA students experience. Lastly, we're going to close it with the unfair advantage, is how I like to call it. This is how IBA has shaped my future and how it is also going to shape yours, hopefully. So this is my story. After I graduated from IBA and I did my master's, I knew that I wanted to work in tech. To me, this is one of the most exciting industries out there. It's changing so fast and it has an incredible impact on our daily lives. I also had a dream company in mind, which was IBM at the time. And the reason why is because of the incredible impact that IBM has had on the industry for decades. So I was fortunate enough to be able to do a traineeship with IBM in Dublin, Ireland, which, if you didn't know it yet, Dublin is like the Silicon Valley of Europe. We've got all the large tech multinationals, EMEA headquarters in Dublin. So it's really a great place to be in and kickstart your career. So that's what I've done at IBM, and it was an incredible experience. I've learned a lot. But I was also looking for something a bit younger, a bit more colorful, more innovative. And I found that at Salesforce, which is honestly one of the coolest companies in the world, in my opinion. It is an incredible product, amazing culture, incredible people. I just love everything that Salesforce stands for. And so I stayed there for 3.5 years. I had an incredible time. I learned so much at Salesforce, and I really grew as a person and developed myself so much so that I decided it was time to take that leap and jump into entrepreneurship. I had wanted to be an entrepreneur for many years since I was very little. And obviously, there is never a right time, right, to quit your corporate job and move into the life of an entrepreneur. But I went for it, and it was incredible. My first company is Boxy. Boxy is baby clothes that I designed myself. It was a very fun, creative process. I loved entrepreneurship so much that I decided to create a second venture called the Happiness Project, which is creative corporate gifting. Now, as I said before, I am really, really into tech. So I knew that this is something that I want to be doing for the coming decades. And so my more than full-time job right now is Minute. And with Minute, what we're trying to do there is make entrepreneurship accessible to every single student out there. And the way we do that is through our platform on Minute.works. What you can do there is you can become a student freelancer, and we'll give you the opportunity to connect with a large variety of businesses in all sizes, all kind of industries. And students perform remote tasks for these businesses. So this is a great model. It's amazing for students to, build their resume, learn, grow, apply classroom knowledge into real life situations. This is really a win-win. And so I'm very passionate about Minute, about Boxy, about the Happiness Project. I love entrepreneurship. I love tech. And I really believe in what I do every day. I was also fortunate enough to be able to live and work in a lot of different places. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Obviously, that's very important coming from international business administration. But first, let me tell you a little bit about how I made that decision for IBA. Now, the first thing I do in choosing a school, and as I'm sure many of you do, you look at the rankings. Simple as that. Ours is the best business school in the Netherlands, in the Benelux, so across Belgium and Luxembourg as well. And we were named by the Financial Times as the 6th best business school of Europe as well. Now, why is this so important in choosing a school? Because especially if you want to work and live across the globe, which is what many IBA students want, but even if you are choosing to stay in the Netherlands, this name is going to open doors for you. I'll tell you a bit more about that because it has definitely opened doors for myself. So IBA stands for International Business Administration, and the I is so important here. International. What does that really mean? You have an incredibly diverse classroom. IBA gives you the opportunity to explore different cultures. And these, what you see here, these are the 6 countries that I have lived in, either worked or studied or done both. A lot of that I owe to IBA because this is really the mindset that IBA is trying to create there. All of the people in your class, they want to venture out into the world, see different places, live everywhere. So the I for international, yes, but the I in IBA stands for a lot more than international. To me, it stands for a number of things, including immersive, because this is a very immersive program. And when you join IBA, you join a community, a very strong, tight-knit community, a huge network that you're going to have for the rest of your life. It is intense. I'm not going to lie. I definitely found IBA challenging at times, but then again, that's what studies are meant for. If it's not challenging, you don't learn, you don't grow. It is iconic, inspirational, and impactful. These 3 go hand in hand because when I look at my peers, when I look at the teaching staff, I am inspired by each and every one of them, by their lives, their journeys, the decisions that they make. If you do a quick search on LinkedIn and have a look at what are IBA alumni doing today, you will find that they are literally all over the place. They are in every corner of the world, but they're also in every single industry. So we have our people who are out there, devoting their life to charity work in third world countries. We have a lot of those. We also have the entrepreneurs in a ton of different industries. We got our researchers, our consultants. I'm sure that there's a lot of things here that I didn't mention yet, but honestly, you name it, and IBA has done it. So at the end of the day, to many IBA people, it is all about making an impact, impacting the world, contributing to the world in one way or another, because of course, impact comes in many forms. For myself, impact is entrepreneurship. But again, this is different for every single student. So what do IBA students experience, and what can you experience as a prospective IBA student? 4 key things. The first one, international friendship. I already touched on the international aspect, but this is truly a little world inside a safe classroom. It is amazing. To your left, you could have a Latvian girl, which actually became one of my closest friends. And to your right, you can have a German guy or a Chinese guy, or they come from everywhere. And that makes it so fun. Living and working globally, something that a lot of people want to do. Cross-cultural understandings in business and life. And most importantly, the fact that IBA is a very, very broad program, if you will, meaning to say that if you haven't figured out yet, and you probably haven't, right, what you want to do in 3, 4, 5 years' time, then that's totally fine, because almost none of us do. We learn and we develop ourselves and we grow along the way. And as we change as people, our priorities shift as well. So, you may want to be a banker today, but by the end of the IBA program, you actually want to be a researcher. That's totally fine. Those opportunities are offered to you if you do come from the IBA program. So for me, this was very, very crucial in deciding what studies I wanted to go for. I wanted something that was just broad enough and that wouldn't close any doors for me. Now, for the cherry on top of the cake, IBA also strongly supports and encourages leadership and entrepreneurship. These 2, again, go hand in hand for me. What I've done is, with a couple of friends, we co-founded the New Fashion Society. And the whole goal here was to bring a little bit more creativity to the business school. So what we do is we bridge the gap between the creative industry, think luxury brands, for example, with students from the business school. So we're doing a ton of things. We have our annual fashion show. We do a lot of seminars. We had one recently about sustainable luxury. We do a lot of internships. We help with internships at large firms like LVMH, Vogue, but also Nike, Adidas, H&M, all these kind of companies are all partnered with the New Fashion Society. And this has been an incredible experience being part of the very early days of NFS, because it teaches you entrepreneurship in a very safe, almost classroom-like setting. It's still being the real world, right? But you're still doing it as a student. So it was incredible. And I still reap the benefits of having founded NFS today. It's been instrumental to me in my entrepreneurial journey. So, what is the real reason that so many people decide to apply for the program, and why so many people are so enthusiastic about IBA? This is what I like to call the unfair advantage. And the unfair advantage is what IBA really does for you. So, what's really in it for you? I already talked about these 4 points. This is what IBA students experience. This is what you'll experience during those 3 years, yes. But what does that really mean for you 10 years down the line, after you graduate? How impactful is IBA? Well, I'll tell you from first-hand experience, the impact is huge. Because international friendships, the people that you meet in your classroom, they turn into a massive network. Incredibly important. So on the picture, this is actually an alumni event in Singapore that I went to a couple of months ago, before the lockdown, obviously. And when I joined the event, I knew nobody in the room. But when I left that evening, I left with so many business cards, a ton of new connections. I developed friendships, but even got a business deal out of it for my company. So, never underestimate the power of a network. If you come from the same study, if you come from the same business school, people will help you. So definitely opens doors. Secondly, living and working globally. If you move to a new city or a new country every few years or so, then what you're doing is forcing yourself out of your comfort zone. And that is when growth happens. This is the part where you learn a lot about yourself and about other cultures. That's when you can develop into your own best version and become a better person out of it. Now, I touched upon the RSM name briefly. This is important because if you're looking to cross borders, it's important to know that RSM is a very well-known name globally. And so I've lived in California, and I have lived in Singapore and in Taiwan and in Nepal and in China, and everywhere they know the RSM name. So it's definitely highly useful. Now, thirdly, cross-cultural understandings in business and life. Why is this so important? If you understand different types of cultures and you can see things from different perspectives, then it makes you more adaptable. You become a better listener and also a better communicator. Because you're able to see all of those different perspectives, it makes you more creative. And so you're actually able to think outside of the box. Very important. So these 3 things are the reason why for IBA students, literally the world is your oyster. Honestly, it sounds very cliche, but it is. You can do anything you want to do. You can go wherever you want to go, and you can explore any field that you're interested in. Again, just run your search on IBA alumni. We're all over the place, literally. That was all for today. So I hope that you found that very useful. If you do have any questions for me, or if you want to hear more, actually going to be doing an interview and a Q&A. On the Saturday, the 14th of November, we'll be doing a live stream of the open day. And I'm really looking forward to meeting you, hopefully, if you found this session interesting. And in the meantime, please feel free to connect with me. You can add me on LinkedIn, send me an email if there's anything that I can help you with. If you have any type of questions around the IBA program or around the Minute platform, let me know. Or if you're interested in becoming a prospective student and joining to become a student freelancer, then you can also sign up to our waitlist at minute.work. So we've got all the information in the slides here. So I hope that was very useful to you, and I'm really looking forward to meeting you soon, hopefully. Bye-bye, take care.